Hey guys, welcome to Igneo Studios. I'm Trent.
I'm Trevor.
And we just finished season 1 of Netflix's adaptation of The Witcher. And we got a couple things to say, but hopefully it won't be too long this time since it's just the two of us and it's just an 8. One thing we gotta say is that this is an 8-episode season. Each episode's about an hour long.
Yeah, you can say that.
I think one was like 45 minutes, but
yeah,
they're long episodes, so we do have a bit of a talk about. And we did have kind of a break in between, like, the first half of this first season and the second half of the first season. We just finished it with just, like, 3 episodes left. So, got our handy-dandy phone Wikipedia page of the episodes to get us back on track. And we'll try not to make this as long, but if it gets long, it gets long. We'll go over this spoiler-free first, and then we'll just go through each episode briefly, and we'll just discuss it. So the actual review part won't be very long. It's just our discussion will be probably pretty long.
Yeah.
All right. Spoiler free again. I don't know how to work the whole chapter thing that YouTube videos have, where you can separate it, but
even timestamps.
It's something like that. I don't know how to work that, but this is spoiler free for now. So please stick around. And so, one of the things that this show does really well, and pretty much everything is top tier. From the acting is fantastic, especially by our lead actor, Henry Cavill, as the good old Geralt of Rivia. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, he was a perfect choice. The dude is a mega nerd that loves The Witcher. He loves games in general.
Of course he does.
I mean, Witcher, like, I'm currently playing The Witcher 3 on PlayStation 4. I have not even, like, gone through the first third of the game, and I love it already. So, it's a good game. I recommend it. Good books. I do have the books, but I've not read them yet. So, my knowledge of The Witcher's lore is not good. But besides the point, Henry Cavill is a fantastic Geralt of Rivia. He is fantastic as him, from not just the physique, his mannerisms, and goes with the choreography as well. And that's another thing I want to bring up is the fight choreography. The fight choreography is top tier. It's very much a lot like Lord of the Rings movies of choreography. Honestly, and the swordplay is almost, I should say, it's like the John Wick of swordplay.
Those give me some reminiscence of Game of Thrones.
I would say so, but Game of Thrones doesn't really have a whole lot of fights in there. From where we are, at least, we're not very far into the series. We're only season 3, so, and there's not a lot of fights in there. So, and the choreography can be. It's mainly the camera work that bothers me, but regardless. Yes, Henry gives a compelling and convincing portrayal as Geralt. Not only that, all the other characters that are alongside him. Jaskier, the bard, is comedic gold. He is so funny. Every scene with him and Geralt is, I'm not going to say cringe, but it's the good kind, where it's just, you want to laugh.
At times...
at times he's annoying.
At times he can be a bit annoying, but...
He can be a bit much, but I think that's the point.
Yeah. He's
like this everyman compared to the main character energy that Geralt has.
Yeah.
Like I said, Jaskier is a fantastic side character. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's very down to earth. He's a very straight man if you know what that means, is basically the normal guy in this situation. Much like Jim from The Office. He was a straight man. It is a little late, but
yeah.
We'll get this out.
So forgive my yawning.
And forget my yawning as well when that happens. To prepare for this review, we did have the Witcher game, and I also have my Witcher medallion here.
Another main character would be Yennefer.
Basically, you have pretty much all the characters from the games and the books. Not all of them, because this only goes I don't know what books it's based on. I know it's based on the first book, and I think the third book goes through the first three.
I haven't read any of them.
I haven't either, but that's what I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll probably look it up later, but well, I got it right here. But Yennefer, the casting in this show is very well done. There were a couple that I'm not gonna complain, but it just at times I'm like, it's not the perfect, but it still works. So I don't hate it for that. I'm not gonna discredit the show for that.
The actress that does Siri.
All right here. First season, and I do have the Wikipedia page. Season 1 is based on The Last Wish and the Sword of Destiny. I don't know which order that is. I don't know what Sword of Destiny is, but I know The Last Wish is the first book because I do have it, but I don't know. So, the casting is very well done.
Like I said, the actress that does Siri does a great job.
Yeah, Siri is in this as well, the kid version, not the teenager from Witcher 3 or the later books. The actress that does young Siri does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
She gives. At times, it seems that she's a little bland, in my opinion at least, but overall, she does a pretty good job.
The blandness could be worse.
When you get bland acting, there is some bland acting in this show, but it's very rare, so far between, and it could be way worse. So the blandness is just, they probably got a line, and it's just, I don't know how else to say this.
And the actress that does Yennefer, she does a fantastic job.
Yeah, Yennefer's actress does a very good job at being Yennefer. But the Yennefer that I know from Witcher 3, which I don't know anything much about these characters except for what I just know from the show and from the game, briefly. But Yennefer was done pretty well. The actress that she has the suave that Yennefer has. She has that sassiness, and it's just amazing to watch on screen. Same with Geralt.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill gives this dry sense of humor. It's not really sense of humor. It's more sarcasm, and it's hilarious.
He does get a bit charismatic.
Charismatic, yes, but it's hilarious when he gets sarcastic.
Now the antagonist. There are some characters I fucking hate. Give props to the actors. The characters.
We're jumping ahead too much. We're jumping ahead. Triss Marigold, one of the other sorceresses in The Witcher, is in this show. Not very long though, and the actress that does her does a good job so far from what we've seen. I could be completely wrong because, like I said, there was a bit of a gap between the first half and second half of this season, so our memory might be a little jumbled. Please let us know in the comments if we missed a lot.
Yeah,
because I know we missed quite a bit. Another thing I want to say is the costume and set design is very well done. Geralt's costume, Henry's Geralt costume is on point. It works. The medallion is badass as ever.
Yeah.
The swords are awesome, are amazingly designed. Everything about this, from the soundtrack. The soundtrack itself is fantastic. I could have a playlist of this and listen to in the car, chilling. And sound design as well, as in the sound effects. It feels visceral. It feels real. It feels believable.
Lighting is well done.
Lighting is well done. I believe they did a lot of this on site, but I'm not completely sure. Because there are shows that do a lot of blue screen, green screen, yada yada yada.
And I would like to say the set pieces are well done.
Yes, the cinematography, I should say, is very well done. Especially when it comes to the fight scenes. The cinematography for the fight scenes is not a jumbled mess. It actually keeps the camera in a very cinematic, action-based spot where you still know the scenes very well, but they have that still cinematic feel where it's not just a big old camcorder being held long ways. for the fight. They have good camera angles, but it's not so bad that you can't see what's happening. So I think the cinematography is done really well. Like I said, the sound design is very well done. The visual effects, the special effects is very well done.
The creature designs.
The creature designs in The Witcher. This is one thing I love about The Witcher from what I have so far. The Witcher has amazing monsters in it. It has an amazing world. You have dwarves, you have elves, you have monsters, strigas, you have dragons, you have werewolves,
corpse eaters.
Like, The Witcher has probably some of the best monsters, not just design-wise, but also just how diverse and large this world is. Even though it's in, like, our world in not Poland. It's based on Polish mythology. But even though it is based around kind of, like, our world, it still doesn't feel disconnected. The monsters don't feel disconnected from the world. It's like they've been there. You have the lore. It's very well done. The Strigas are terrifying. I forget what the other monsters are called, but I honestly don't. The monster design, but like I said, the monster designs are really good looking. They're very well designed. And when Geralt fights them, it's so good to watch. The Striga one in particular, I think it was episode 3. Let me make sure.
I believe so.
Let me make sure. Yes, episode 3 was a Striga. And the Striga was terrifying. It was very terrifying. I was actually...
It was actually more mysterious.
They did more like you can't see the monster, and that was what to make it scary. And then they get to the fight, and it's so good.
It's more like the build up of it was more of a horror setting.
When they go with a genre trope like horror action, they do it very well. The magic system in this show is also very well written. How they use the magic. This season doesn't have a lot of signs, Witcher signs like Ard or Igni, Quinn, Axie, Yodvin. It doesn't have a lot of that. The main ones you see that Geralt uses is Ard. He does attempt Axie, the mind trick, but it doesn't work. So if you're looking for Geralt to use a lot of his signs, you're not gonna get it. He mainly goes with his swordsmanship and just physicality. And I'm not complaining about it, but if that's what you're looking for, you're not gonna get a whole lot of Witcher signs. You're gonna get Geralt being a physical badass. Most of the magic comes from the mages like Yennefer and whatnot. But that don't want to get too much into it because spoilers. But I want to say that this show, I believe, was like Netflix's comeback when it came out. But from what I hear is that Witcher is no longer going to have Henry Cavill because one of their lead writers left because of complications with the other writers. Henry Cavill's no longer part of it after season 3. The role of Geralt's going to go to Liam Hemsworth. And I think he's going to do a good job. I'll still watch it. But I don't think it's going to be the same without Henry Cavill because Henry Cavill was such an intricate part of the series.
But
apparently,
we'll see what happens.
Apparently, don't want to get too much into it, but apparently, like, Henry Cavill had disagreements with writers. The writers apparently didn't like the source material.
Wanted to change a few things.
Which I'll get into that a little bit more after after our spoilers discussion, because I'll be alluding to different shows that do the same thing. Now, this is an 8-episode series. The pace, you would think the pacing is going to be horrendous. It's actually not. One of the tricks they do is that you have Yennefer, Geralt, and Ciri as point of view characters. They're all in different timelines. Not timelines, I should...
time gaps.
Yeah, they're in different places of time. Ciri is in the future of like a few years. Geralt's in like somewhere in the middle. And Yennefer's backstory leading up into her meeting with Geralt is way in the past. and they're establishing characters and their journey so far. Series is a bit more straightforward on the goal of the story with the antagonists. Geralt is much like in the game. It's like a bunch of side quests, and it's interesting with Geralt though. With Yennefer, it's more like a
self-discovery.
It's like a prologue leading into into, like, if you think of it like a game, it's like a prologue leading into the main game. But point is, then the second half of the season, about episode 4, I believe, is when Yennefer and Geralt meet. But don't want to get too much into it, and so they do a clever thing with the pacing, is that because they're in different places in time, and with time skips and time gaps, past, present, future, yada yada. The pacing is done pretty well. Where there were a couple episodes where it kind of got confusing on where people were and what time it is, because they don't really specify it. You kind of just have to read between the lines, which I still like. But it would have been neat to have like a caption that says like, "Oh, this is this year," to like at least help the viewer out.
Cause that's usually what
happens, especially when you take long times with the specific time period. This show doesn't really do that. They kind of just, here's a quick like 5 minutes, then a 10-minute thing with Geralt, or 5-minute thing with Ciri, or 2-minute thing. It's not very. Some of them aren't very long in an episode. And to be fair, that's not the main focus of an episode. Another thing I would like to say, I would like to bring back, I should say, is the fight choreography. Fight choreography is done very well. Henry Cavill puts a lot of work into doing Geralt's swordsmanship justice.
And would you look at that? There's no CGI.
CGI in the sense of the special effects. Yeah. And there was a YouTuber, Shadiversity, went over the Blaviken fight in episode 1. He did it basically shot by shot, and which I will link in the description below. I support his channel. He does fantastic work.
I personally love his Last Jedi.
Let's not talk about that.
All right.
But please give his channel support, and because he does a lot of great work, and he puts a lot of time into doing these analyzing these fight scenes. So I will put a link in the description of his analysis of the Blaviken fight, because he does a fantastic job going over it. But apparently there were some, like a CG, I think there was like a CG throw or something like that. I don't know. I have not actually finished the video, but I got finished the alley fight with the multiple people. Everyone probably knows that scene. But the fight choreography is very well done. It's visceral. It's brutal. This is a show that's rated TVMA. Right. So you're gonna get gore. You're gonna get gore. You're gonna get nudity. Just the works in a fantasy.
And thank God they kept that rating.
My bad. Yeah. Plus, this rating works to the show's credit, because one thing I'll give Lord of the Rings. I'm not gonna complain about it, but one thing is that Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit are very child friendly in a way. They're child friendly in the sense that they're telling a story. Whereas Tolkien's work is very child friendly. Sapkowski, he's very visceral and brutal with how he depicts the world, and it works to the story's credit. It's showing how brutal the world can be, and I actually like that. We went over this point. I believe we went over this point, but if I didn't, this is the point also that Kentaro Miura does with Berserk, because we did do a video of the first deluxe volume of Berserk, because we started it, and both him, Kentaro, and Miura, and as well as George R.R. Martin with Game of Thrones, it's very realistic with the world itself.
Yeah.
That you get the politics into it, and it serves the story of the episode, and it still works. Like I said, the acting is fantastic at times. There is probably a couple bland moments, but it's so few and far between that you can't complain about it. You can't really complain about it.
Not really.
But when by the end of the season, you'll get like it's a good payoff because Geralt goes on this journey, Yennefer goes on this journey, Ciri goes on this journey, and it kind of pays off. So, so what else can we say about spoiler free?
Nothing much. That's a good ass show.
It's a really good show. So, if you stuck around for the final verdict, not final verdict, which we'll still do final verdict for the spoiler free, we are now going to be in spoiler territory after we give our final verdict. So, what would you give the show?
I would give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10? Personally, it's not perfect, but no show is perfect. I still really enjoyed it. The pacing, I did defend the pacing with the time gap, but it still felt like a lot of stuff happened a little fast, or it kind of cut between the characters a bit too much.
Yeah.
For example, with like Yennefer and Geralt in one episode, it kind of cut too many times between them, when I think the focus should have been Geralt or Yennefer. They should have just kind of picked.
Yeah.
I think Netflix tried a little too hard trying to get say, hey, Yennefer's still a main character, instead of, focus on the actual episode.
Yeah.
So I would probably, about taking this into account, I'm gonna give this first season an 8.5 out of 10. It's a really good adaptation. It's a good adaptation so far from what I'm seeing. But to be fair, I don't know the book, so I could be completely wrong. But I think it's a good show. And thanks for sticking around with the spoiler free. And now we are now in spoiler territory. If you want to stick around, please. But if you want to click off this video, please do so. And give the show a watch for yourself. Please, I recommend giving it a watch yourself, and give your own take on it. Please talk to us in the comments, because we would love to talk to you guys more about this show and anything else about this. So, thanks for watching the spoiler free.
Yeah. And
now to the spoilers. Spoilers. We're gonna briefly go over each of the 8 episodes, and we'll just briefly talk about the points and what we liked and didn't like. Then we'll get into an actual discussion. So episode 1, we get, and we'll go episode by episode, pretty quick. Like I said, I do have the Wikipedia page with the episodes and their synopsis, so this will help us out.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna put my phone right there. So the first episode starts pretty strong. We have Geralt fighting a Kikimora, which is like a sea monster. It's a really cool way to hook your viewers. And it's not very long. It's just like, alright, the show's gonna be brutal and it's gonna be awesome. The main thing is that Geralt goes to the town Blaviken, meets Renfri, cursed princess turned bandit. Cursed is because I'll just get into right now. Geralt meets a sorcerer named Stregobor, who basically killed babies born under an eclipse. Yeah, they really hammer in that this dude's an asshole.
I fucking hate that guy.
We both do. And this was a joke on my part. When he mentioned eclipse in the episode, I was literally like, Griffith? Griffith from Berserk? It was more of a joke on my part, because yeah, Eclipse. Every time I hear Eclipse, I just think back on the Golden Age movie. So basically, Stregobor tries to hire Geralt to kill Renfri. Thing is, Geralt is then almost hired by Renfri to kill Stregobor, because witchers are mercenaries essentially. Yeah. They are monster hunters, but essentially they are mercenaries. Like glorified mercenaries, if we really think about it, but they do their job. And essentially Geralt finds Renfri, who wants to kill Stregobor for trying to kill her. Understandable, but also okay. And we get to it, and after Geralt and Renfri have a conversation, they end up sleeping together. Yeah. They end up sleeping together. Renfri leaves. Geralt's like, well, shit. She's gonna go kill Stregobor. Goes to the Blaviken.
Yeah.
And Witchers are hated in this world. They are hated because they are referred to as freaks of nature, because Witchers are actually people that were mutated through experiments to be the best monster hunters. Essentially, they're mutants, essentially.
Yeah.
So, basically, Renfri gives an ultimatum, like, choose the lesser evil, because Geralt refuses to interfere, because he chooses the lesser evil. But in this case, can't really choose the lesser evil, because both are really shitty. Yeah. And this is where, like I said, the fight choreography is really good, because Renfri had, like, a group of, like, 5 guys in an alleyway?
I counted, like, 6.
Whatever the case, Geralt goes and rips these guys to shreds. It's really good so far. And Renfri confronts him, holding a little girl that Geralt got along with very well with. Threatens, and they get into a fight. They get into a pretty awesome sword fight with Geralt winning. Obviously, he's the main character, but how the sword fight is in this episode is very well done. Because you can find the breaks. I like it when it comes to fight choreography, where you see the change in pace. Because in one point, Geralt, when he first starts this fight with Renfri, he starts with either dodging or parrying. He doesn't attack.
No.
Then the change in pace, he starts actually defending himself. Then the next change of pace, Renfri gets a couple of shots in. Geralt starts actually trying, and by the last beat change of pace, Geralt has already won. I like that because it's a natural change in the fight itself. It was a little bit more obvious in this though, but I like the natural change in a fight instead of just a overblown, like it's a one note fight the whole time and somehow the hero wins by sheer luck or some random maneuver where the bad guy messes up even though he was like a flawless fighter the whole time. Here it actually makes a lot of sense with the choreography. And ends up killing Renfri. Stregobor wants to, but before she dies, Renfri says that the girl in the woods is your destiny, which we'll get into in a second. Stregobor comes in, wanting to autopsy her body. Geralt threatens him, naturally so, because he's an asshole. But Stregobor gets the townspeople to, go against Geralt as the newly named Butcher of Blaviken. That's where the term comes from. And Geralt, obviously, naturally pissed off, reluctantly leaves Blaviken to do his own thing. Yeah. Then we cut to Ciri, who is, grandmother of this queen, and everything kind of seems like it's going hunky-dory, but not really. Her grandmother and grandfather are these basically warriors in a fight. They get into a war with Nilfgaard, and they lose quite brutally to the point where Nilfgaard actually attacks Sintra, their kingdom, and sacks the whole place. To the point where they wound the Queen Calanthe, which is the grandmother, tells Ciri, find Geralt of Rivia. Because he is your destiny, does that whole, here's your goal, go after it. Then she jumps out her window.
But not before telling her top lieutenants to commit suicide. Yeah,
better dead than prisoner of war, I guess. I guess that was the point. And that's how that ends. It's revealed that Ciri is almost captured by a Nilfgaardian, but she apparently she kills him, I guess. I don't remember it. But Ciri, I think she does kill him by a latent magical ability. And that's why they were attacking them, because Ciri is this chosen one. And I think Ciri's done pretty well. The magic system is done very well here. What's his name? Mouseback? Or something like that?
Yeah, Mousesack.
Mousesack?
Yeah.
Well, one of the other mages that is one of the nicer guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's very well done that the magic system with the mages, because it's not. I'm not gonna say exclusive to them, but you can definitely tell it's very well done with the magic. It's not as subtle as, say, the Ishtari in Lord of the Rings, or it's not as all over the place like Harry Potter. It's like part of this world, like out of like nature and stuff. It feels natural with them, at least. Not saying that Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter aren't natural, but they are stark differences to The Witcher. But yeah, Ciri gets away after killing her would-be captor by a sheer magical force shockwave, and I think that's how the episode ends. The next one begins with Geralt meeting Jaskier, the bard.
Yeah.
And apparently, actually, no, wait. It's the same one. But this episode, actually, in the beginning of the episode, we get introduced to
Yennefer.
We get introduced to Yennefer, Vindeberg, and her family sucks ass. Mm-hmm. They sell her to the sorceress of Aretuza, mainly because her father didn't like her, but apparently Yennefer has a potential. And a lot of the episode focuses on her training as a sorceress, but she's kind of ridiculed by her hunchback because she is quarter elf, and apparently that messes your biology up to that extent. I don't really know, but
from what I looked up, that is accurate.
I guess so, but
from what I looked up,
I guess so, but. That's why she has a deformity. So, and most of the episode with her is just her training, getting better, going through all this stuff.
Yeah, well, most of the episodes just revolves around her.
Yeah, because it's mainly
which is all right.
Which is like I said, I think the main focus should have been like. Well, to be fair, these are like hour-long episodes, so you could spend like a good 30 minutes with each. And that's why they cut it up, but it ends up being like 30 minutes each. For Geralt, we meet Jaskier, who, like I said, is a hilarious side character. And they meet the elves in a Sylvan. It's like basic side quest stuff for a video game.
Yeah.
Because the main focus, I believe, was Yennefer.
Yes.
Ciri doesn't get a whole lot of screen time.
She shows up in like a camp area.
Yeah, in a refugee camp after they escape the Nilfgaardians. They get attacked. And who knows? Like, go figure, right?
Yeah.
Meets an elf boy named Dara,
who's actually pretty good in this.
Apparently, elves are also ridiculed because of they're elves. Apparently, humans are very racist in this show, or just in general. They were very racist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
episode 3.
Episode 3 is big turning points to the characters, mainly to Yennefer and Geralt. With Geralt, my bad.
I'm trying to do that.
With Geralt, it's another side quest, but it's a bit more. It's a bit more intriguing of it.
But first, let's go with Yennefer.
Yeah, we'll go with Yennefer. Yennefer gets better with her magic.
Yeah.
And apparently she meets a sorcerer, a mage.
It's called Istrad.
And they become lovers to a point.
Yeah, to a point.
but like, some treachery here and there with the council, pulling strings like maestros or stuff.
Yeah.
And it ends with their lovers turns into a lovers quarrel, and they break up. Yennefer learns later on, not later on, before they break up, she meets a mage that can perform magic plastic surgery. Yeah, that's like, damn.
Yeah.
And she learns that, this guy's like, yeah, I could change your appearance to make you look beautiful.
But it has to be a cost.
And which we'll get into right now, actually. After her and Istrid break up because of some treachery, spying on each other.
Yeah.
Yennefer and the fact that Yennefer wanted to go to Aedirn? Yeah, Aedirn. Aedirn instead of Nilfgaard.
Yeah.
And just basically bad day happens to her. She decides to get this magic plastic surgery at the cost of her fertility.
Meaning she can't have children.
Well, literally what that means.
Yeah.
At the cost of her fertility, she becomes beautiful, and my God, it is a glow up. It is a glow up, and that's about how her side of this episode ends.
Mm-hmm. Now we go on to Geralt.
Geralt. I'm looking at this page as well as remembering the episode. They cut between these two a lot with each of the characters. They cut between them a lot. So we're just going to give you basically one side of the story of one character, and then we'll finish off with the other side.
Mm-hmm.
With Geralt, he goes to the kingdom of Temeria to investigate a Striga, which is a monster, because apparently another Witcher tried to get into it, but he died.
Yeah.
Witcher dies. So Geralt takes the job thanks to Triss Merigold.
Mm-hmm.
It basically identifies the monster as a Striga, creature born of a curse. And while he's investigating what made the curse, he realizes that the cursed person was the daughter of the king, because the daughter of the king is not just the mother of the Striga is none other than the king's sister. So it was a product of rape and incest.
Yeah.
That is a yikes. That is a very heavy subject. Something like Game of Thrones pretty much wears on its sleeve, but we won't get too much into it.
But we realized that the courtier.
The
courtier.
Yeah, courtier basically was a caretaker who he cursed the princess because apparently he loved the mother so much, and just out of basically spite cursed her daughter, which is a dumbass move.
Yeah.
Oh, just to make the king suffer, and not realizing that, bruh, like you just ruined this girl's life, man.
Yeah.
You kind of,
and he dies after Geralt uses him as bait.
Yeah, Geralt. One thing is a good turning point for Geralt is that we see a lot more of his layers, his morality. After he finds out that this guy committed such a horrible act, he ties him up to a bed, lets him out, and just lets the Striga kill him. Because he's planning. Because Witchers, when they go after monsters, they plan. It's like they are like bounty hunters. They're mercenaries. They have to prepare themselves. So after that, we get into a pretty neat fight. Because Geralt was gonna kill it, but until he found out it was the princess.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes full on non-lethal. That's why in this fight he kind of gets a bit more. He kind of gets his ass kicked.
Yep.
And the only way to cure a Striga is
to contain it.
Not really contain it. Just make sure it doesn't go back in its like say for this Striga in particular, it was a coffin.
Yeah.
To hide from the sunlight. But Geralt basically enters the coffin himself to keep it out.
Yeah.
And kind of happily ever after, but he kind of warns the king, like, don't be a dick. Don't be a jerk, or else you're dealing with me.
And the episode ends.
Ciri does show up.
Only briefly.
Briefly. Nothing really happens. She kind of goes through a forest with Dara, and that's kind of how that episode goes. Next episode, however, is around, like, we have a big old time skip. We get Yennefer in a carriage with a princess.
I believe so. A spoiled one.
Queen right here. Queen House of Lyria. They are ambushed by an assassin because apparently this queen cannot produce a male heir.
Yeah.
Yennefer tries very hard to try and save these two because she has an infant child. She does technically save the child, but not before being struck in the shoulder by this assassin's magic spear, which involves killing the baby as well.
Yeah. And the fact that the queen was willing to sacrifice the baby.
Yeah, a lot of people are assholes in this show. Once Yennefer gets back there after, the queen and the baby are killed, she basically murders this dude. And, yeah. And that's about it.
Yeah.
For Yennefer, she doesn't really get too much. Basically, and we get the Geralt. Another point in time, right here. 12. Yennefer's part in this episode was in the year 1240. Geralt's side of the story is 1249. That is a massive gap. Geralt accompanies Jaskier to a betrothal feast of Princess Pavetta, Queen Calanthe's daughter, before the sacking of Sintra. Basically, it's like a flashback.
9 years before the siege.
Yeah, it's like we said, they go in different time periods, so like, oh, this is what happened to this, how it happened, yada yada yada. So I'm just gonna read this real quick. Urshion of Ehrenwald, also known as Duny, interrupts to demand Pavetta's hand through the law of surprise, having saved her father's life several years earlier. Basically, so many suitors do not get it. Basically, they don't get it with the princess. And Geralt is he sits next to the queen because the queen knows of his high esteem. This knight, Duny, is a cursed knight. He basically looks like a human hedgehog because he was cursed as a young boy. And after the queen, because apparently the queen knew about this, and ordered Geralt to kill him. Geralt refuses because he is cursed, not a monster. He is a normal guy that's traumatized. And by the law of surprise, what that means is that, I don't know the exact thing, and I was just explaining this in the last episode. Basically, law of surprise is that whatever, you will owe me something that I do not know what you owe me of. Like, for example, I guess we can just say, Geralt says that, I law of surprise as a joke, and apparently he's destined to take care of Ciri as part of the law of surprise.
Yeah.
By law of surprise, he is now, owed that he protect Ciri. In a sense, basically in that sense. Yeah, apparently Duny saved Pavetta's father's life several years earlier. Urchion suffers from a curse that transformed him into a hedgehog/man creature. Despite Pavetta's acceptance, Calanthe refuses and a brawl ensues. Basically, Geralt and Duny kick ass, and it's pretty awesome. But the stakes are there. The stakes are very there. When Calanthe tries killing Duny, Pavetta activates her power, creating Maelstrom until Geralt and Mousak intervene. That's where Ciri's power comes from, is from her mother. In order to, wanting her daughter happy, Calanthe marries Duny and Pavetta, which lifts his curse. Basically, happily ever after stuff. You get it. Thankful for Geralt's aid, Duny insists he take a reward. Geralt jokingly invokes the law of surprise for Duny. has for something Dooney has but does not yet know. The crowd then immediately learns that it's pregnant. Basically, wow, they got busy before they were married. In 1263, Nilfgaard's forces resumed their pursuit of Ciri. Faveta's daughter with Mousak as their prisoner. And they encounter a forest kingdom within like snowy mountains.
Yeah.
So it's like a weird Amazon thing vibe, and it's actually really well done.
Yeah.
That's the end of that.
Yeah.
So next episode is an interesting one because we actually get Yennefer and Geralt meet. Mm-hmm. Because circumstance happens, Jaskier was attacked by a Jed. So yeah, technically it was Jaskier's fault for being an idiot. But they go through all this stuff. Apparently, after Yennefer reveals and kind of she heals Jaskier from after he is attacked, and apparently she wants the Jinn to be the vessel of the Jinn to wish to have fertility back.
Yeah.
Because after the baby was killed in the last episode, she wants a child as a legacy. The episode kind of plays it off like, oh, Jaskier has all the wishes because he stupidly wished for like 2 of them.
Yeah.
But it's revealed that Geralt had the wishes the whole time.
Yeah.
Which means he inadvertently had Jaskier's voice taken out like an idiot. And I like the idea that Jinn are very angry until they're freed because they're prisoners. You don't want that.
So
it's basically that, and like obviously romance between Geralt and Yennefer Bloom. It was kind of like a run of the mill story and meet.
Yeah.
With Ciri's side of the story, we actually get to meet the antagonist properly. We didn't get to talk about the antagonist in our spoilers. And our spoiler free, because there's not really much to talk about the antagonist. Nilfgaard as an army is like the main thing. Some of the individuals, I'm like, I guess they're interesting, but they're not really interesting at the same time.
Not really.
One of the main antagonists, Kahir, hires a Doppler
a doppelganger.
Yeah, who basically shapeshifts to take the form of Mousak, an old friend of Geralt's, the same sorcerer from the last episode.
Yeah.
And Mousak is killed, sadly. So, that's how that episode goes. We're going to go through these a little bit faster now. Because some of these episodes is just kind of run-of-the-mill ideas. Straightforward stories. Mm-hmm. In the next episode, Geralt, Jaskier join a bunch of people to kill a dragon. Dragons are very rare.
Yeah.
And Yennefer ends up being there.
Yeah.
Talk about awkward.
So we get to meet several teams.
We get Reavers, we get dwarves. The dwarves were the fucking funniest of them all.
Yeah.
Especially the one with the big old red beard. He was hilarious. He just yelled everything. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of goes through like Geralt meets this guy who hires him to do this, and after they take a dwarven shortcut, the guy falls to his death along with his 2 protectors, his 2 bodyguards, I should say.
Yeah. And
basically, Geralt obviously feels that since he couldn't save them, he feels horrible. It's revealed that, and one, I did like the conversation that green dragons are common, red dragons are rarer, black dragons are the rarest, golden dragons are a myth, but they're technically the rarest. They end up meeting the dragon, but apparently this dragon that attacked this village was already dead, protecting its egg. It's revealed that the guy that fell, Borscht, and the two bodyguards were defending the eggs the entire time because Borscht was the golden dragon. I'm not sure how that works where you shapeshift into a dragon, but okay. I thought it was still cool. Visual effects weren't the best, but they were serviceable. And sorry about the pause. We had a very long fire alarm test for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So back to where we were. We were on the dragon.
Yep.
It's revealed that Borch is a dragon named, let's see if I can pronounce this right, Villain Tretenmouth. I think I said that right. I have no idea. But it's revealed that the dragon is the father of the egg, and he thanks Geralt, Yennefer, and his bodyguards for defending it. It's also revealed that the last wish Geralt did to the Jinn to free Yennefer was that he wished for their fates to be bound together. Yennefer, believing that this means that her feelings are artificial, not real, she leaves. Basically breaks up with him. And in his angered state, Geralt lashes out at Jaskier, verbally, not physically. Basically saying, "Hey, fuck you, man." That's about how that goes. With Ciri, however, we get Ciri and Dara are confused about the mouse sack, which is the doppelganger, basically. By asking the right questions, they realize that, oh, Mousesack is dead. I'm gonna escape. Ciri gets recaptured and tied to a tree. Darius rescues her, and fearing for his own safety, he leaves. However, the doppelganger disguises himself as Ciri to confront Cahir about what Ciri actually is. They get into a fight. Doesn't last very long. It's alright.
No, episode 7.
7 is interesting. We get to days before the sacking of Sintra in 1263, and I'm gonna just read this out, and we'll comment. But we're gonna get through these 2 episodes just by reading this out. So please bear with us. Then we'll get to the actual discussion of how I'm gonna, not discussion, but how I compare this to other fantasy stories. Episode 7. In 1263, with Nilfgaard poised to invade Sintra, Geralt decides to invoke his law-surprising claims Ciri to protect her. But Calanthe, unwilling to give up the last remaining strand of her daughter's life, offers a different young girl in Ciri's place.
Basically saying, fuck you, Geralt.
Basically saying, basically just saying, fuck law surprise, no destiny, no God's way can hold this to my child. And I get it, but also, by right, I know that's not technically the morally correct decision. I would probably have done the same thing as the queen would if it was my child on the line, but it's not my say. After realizing the deception, Geralt confronts Calanthe and is imprisoned by Aist.
The king.
By the king Aist. After visiting Istrid and failing to reignite the relationship, Yennefer returns to Aretuza with the sorcerer Vilgefortz.
Who, by the way, is a fucking badass.
Right. Basically, Nilfgaard, just briefly on this, Nilfgaard is going to attack Sodden, a kingdom, basically, that if you take this kingdom, you are make way to the north. Vilgefortz announces his intention to rally mages to oppose Nilfgaard. Yennefer, not wanting to get involved, declines, but she ends up kind of just chilling with them anyway for some reason.
Yeah.
The Brotherhood votes to remain neutral, but Tissaia, Vilgefortz, Triss, and other mages resolve to fight. Tissaia convinces Yennefer to join. Tissaia is the mentor that trained Yennefer, and basically they have a moment later on. Nilfgaard invades Sintra, sacking the city and breaching the castle. Basically, the first episode. It kind of ties into the first episode and what's happening now.
Yeah. So basically, 7 episodes. It was just Geralt's story. It was catching up to Ciri's story.
Yeah, and Ciri. Yeah, Calanthe tries to send Ciri away with Geralt, but he has escaped his cell and is nowhere to be found. Talk about coincidence, right? Ciri fends for herself after escaping Sintra, stealing a horse from a woman who offers her shelter. Later, she is discovered by her old childhood friends, who suddenly turn on her and her powers activate. Basically, she murders all of them.
Yep.
Brutally.
As revealed to in the season finale,
which this will be the last one. Then we'll give our closing thoughts, and we'll reiterate our final verdict. That'll be the same, but we'll just restate our final verdict.
Most of episode 8 revolves around Yennefer.
Episode 8 is probably the longest episode out of the season. It is a full an hour long plus. Mm-hmm. So bear with us on this. Having escaped from Sintra, Geralt defends a merchant from undead monsters, corpse eaters, but is wounded and loses consciousness. Yennefer and the mages reinforce the keep of Sodden Hill, aiming to prevent Nilfgaardian forces from invading the remaining northern kingdoms.
Yeah, this is happening at the same time as Geralt is unconscious.
Yeah.
And honestly, we actually delve deep into his past,
which we'll get into in a second. So I'm sorry I'm like leaning my head down for some reason. I'm like looking at my phone and my head's naturally doing that for some reason. So the Nilfgaardians launch their attack and the battle starts. Basically, they pull a Helm's Deep. And it's a good battle good battle sequence with the mages fending off all these soldiers, but their numbers are overwhelming them. Tissaia attempts to talk down Fringilla, but Fringilla disables her. Fringilla is basically a rogue mage.
Who's a complete bitch.
Vilgefortz fights Kahir, and it's kind of cool. He has like this cool ability where he keeps summoning swords out of his sheath after he loses them.
But it takes a toll on him.
Yeah, because strain of magic. But loses and is thrown down a hill. When Vilgefortz wakes up later on while the battle's going on, he kills a northern sorcerer, revealing himself to be a turncoat.
Basically.
Because a sorcerer says, please help, and he just smashes his head in. Yikes.
So basically, that sorcerer is likely to be a traitor.
Nilfgaardian soldiers begin to overrun the fort, but Yennefer channels a massive stream of fire. This is where, like I said, this is where a good moment with Tissaia and Yennefer show. Yennefer basically says, "Thank you for saving my life," and how I look at this scene is that Yennefer is basically saying to Tissaia that you're the mother that I needed. But I was too proud to admit it. That's how I look at it. It was like a tough love with the mentor stuff, but technically, if you really look at it, Tissaia was the closest thing to a mother to Yennefer, because her actual mother, though she did care, but she didn't really oppose nor resist the decision the father made to sell her. Mm-hmm. It was kind of just there.
So basically, say an entire storm of fire.
Basically, main thing Tissaia really teaches Yennefer is reserve your chaos. Do not let it out. This time she says, let it out. Basically, all the pent-up emotions Yennefer had, she lets it all out in this one big attack, and it was very beautiful to look at. Mm-hmm. Then she disappears somehow. Ciri is awakened by the woman she stole the horse from earlier, and discovers the dead bodies around her. Because at the end of the previous episode, Ciri goes into like a weird trance, and she starts reciting a bunch of random stuff, and it just ends there. Then we see the aftermath. The woman takes her to her farm. Geralt dreams about his mother, Vicenna, who abandoned him as a child to be made into a witcher. Then wakes to find himself on the merchant's cart. I did like this scene because we see Geralt's psyche as a traumatized character, because he didn't have a choice to be a witcher.
A tragic hero.
He was like the tragic figure, and he's a tragic figure in a way. Mm-hmm. But he's also the epic hero in another way.
Yeah.
Geralt, Guts from Berserk. There are two examples as they are very complex characters, and we love them for it.
Yeah.
When they arrive at the merchant's farm, he hears the woman talk to the man that basically saved his life, about Ciri. He heads into the forest where Ciri and Geralt finally meet and embrace. She asks Geralt who Yennefer is, because apparently Geralt was there when Yennefer disappeared with Tissaia, and they were trying to find her. And apparently these voices echoed in Ciri's head, because she's a very powerful magic herself. Mm-hmm. And the last line is, "Who's Yennefer?" And it ends. And that's the end of the season.
That's it.
And yeah, that's the end of the season. This season was very jam-packed with a lot of stuff. And it was I really enjoyed it. I honestly really enjoyed it.
And we apologize if we been going too fast with the other episodes.
Yeah, the last episodes, it'd take a little bit longer to talk about if we just did it the way we did. So reading it out and just commenting on it would definitely helped us out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Netflix knew what they were doing with this one. Plus, Henry Cavill said that he helped a lot with a lot of the scenes because whenever the writers would deviate from the source material, Henry Cavill would actually, turn them back, say no, that's not how this would go. This is how this would go. And I'll briefly mention that since he is out after season 3, season 4, Liam Hemsworth takes the role of Geralt. I think he's gonna do a good job. I hope he does a good job.
Yeah.
Because apparently he likes the games as well.
Yeah.
But it really sucks whenever the writers and directors of an adaptation hate the source material that they're adapting from. It's a point that I believe I made in my Rings of Power review. Is you already have these legendary characters. You have this legendary story. Just tell the story. Something my acting teacher taught me in university is that, especially when we were learning about Hamlet. Basically, he said to me was, Shakespeare is giving you poetry. Just tell it. Just say it. You don't need to change it. You don't need to add anything to it. Just say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just that works a lot with adaptations as well as just anything else, especially with book adaptations or manga adaptations. This was a point I said about Rings of Power, and I will say this about the writers and directors of The Witcher so far. I would say that Andrzej Sapkowski and Tolkien have given you poetry. They have given you a masterclass in literature. Just tell the story that is written. Just tell it. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to add anything. You don't need to take away anything. Just tell the story. And if you don't know the whole story, consult with people that know it. Henry Cavill is a huge lore nut with The Witcher. He helped out with a lot of the scenes. If the writers were more like that, I think The Witcher would have been a very well done adaptation. Rings of Power, I hope gets better, but like I said in my video, if they keep going the way they're going, it's not going to be very well done. Again, you have like this blueprint of literature to turn into a series. Just tell the story. Mm-hmm. Those are just my 2 cents in on that, at least. Again, our final verdict is I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10.
And I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
But don't take our word for it. I recommend that you go watch this series. We will be doing a season 2 review, so be ready for that.
So, yeah.
But I want you guys to know that give it a watch yourself, because we would like to please let us know in the comments what you thought of the show. Let us know what you thought of it, because we would like to talk more with you guys and just connect with the community here, because that's what we want to do. We want to be part of this community, as well as just have discussions. So let us know what you guys in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe. If you are subscribed, ring the bell so you're notified on new videos.
Thank you so much for watching.
And we did say it was going to be a long video, but please, like I said, ring the bell on the subscription to get notifications. We'll try to put out more videos out, but a lot is happening. Thanksgiving is happening, especially with the workplace, with retail and restaurant services, as well as family stuff. There's a lot going on the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So please understand that there's no videos in the meantime on that front. We're trying to get more videos out, but we do have our lives to manage. But we want you guys to know that we care about this channel. We care about the content we make, and we're happy that those that do watch it do enjoy it. So Again, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next review. And peace.
That's, yeah.